Tesla's headquarters in Palo Alto was a place of constant motion, a high-tech hub that never truly slept. Behind the glass walls of the sprawling office, the air was always filled with the hum of innovation. Engineers working tirelessly on the next generation of electric vehicles, software engineers tweaking the latest iterations of Tesla's AI systems, and designers pushing the boundaries of futuristic architecture. And in the center of it all sat Elon Musk, the man whose vision shaped the very core of this bustling empire. Most days, Elon was deep in thought, his mind always gravitating toward Mars. Space exploration had consumed him for years, and with the ambitious goal of colonizing the Red Planet, he had often found himself lost in the complexity of rocket designs and interplanetary travel. While his world was filled with engineers, technicians, and innovators, his focus remained on one thing: the future. Today, however, was different. The office was quieter than usual, a rare moment of calm before the storm of meetings and tasks ahead. Elon sat in his chair, absently watching the drone footage of Starship launches that played on his computer screen. He was deep in thought, contemplating his next steps for SpaceX, when his assistant, Clara, entered the room with an unusual look on her face. "Elon," Clara began, her voice soft but urgent. "There's a video message for you. It's from a little girl. Her name's Lily and, well, it's something you should see." Elon raised an eyebrow, a momentary flicker of irritation crossing his mind. He wasn't in the mood for one of those viral requests he received almost daily. However, Clara's tone, a mix of concern and curiosity, made him hesitate. With a sigh, he turned toward her and nodded. "All right, let me see it." Clara pressed a button on the screen, and the video began to play. It opened with the image of a hospital room. White walls, a sterile environment. But there, in the center of the frame, sat a small, pale girl with dark brown hair, wearing a simple hospital gown. Elon's eyes narrowed. The young girl's frail appearance made his chest tighten. He didn't know yet what the video would say, but he could already feel the weight of something unexpected. The screen flickered for a moment before the girl's voice broke through the silence. Her voice was soft, almost fragile, but there was a distinct determination in her words that immediately caught Elon's attention. "Hi, Mr. Musk," she began, smiling faintly at the camera. "My name is Lily. I'm 9 years old and I have cancer. The doctors say I don't have long, but I wanted to tell you about something." Elon's heart sank, but he remained still, his eyes glued to the screen. The video felt like a slow pull on his emotions, a gradual tug that threatened to overpower him. "I know you're really busy with space stuff, with Mars and everything," Lily continued, her voice cracking slightly as she spoke. "But, well, I want to go to Mars. I know that's impossible for me, but if I could, I'd love to meet you, Mr. Musk. I've always dreamt about it. I think it would make me happy." She paused for a moment, looking down as if she were trying to find the right words. When she looked up again, her big brown eyes locked onto the camera with a look that mixed hope and resignation. "I know I can't go. I know I'm sick. But I have one wish. Just one." She paused, the camera catching her small hands nervously twiddling with the hospital blanket. Could you come here and give me one hug? Just one. Before I go. Please." The plea was simple but powerful, each word wrapped in vulnerability. For a long moment, there was silence. Elon sat frozen, unable to process what he had just witnessed. He had seen countless requests, demands, and petitions, some heartfelt, some absurd. But this was different. A child whose life had been defined by pain and uncertainty simply wanted a hug from him. Not a spaceship, not a trip to Mars, not a grand gesture, but something profoundly human. Elon's mind buzzed with conflicting thoughts. Confusion crept in. Was this a joke? Could this really be happening? The rational side of his brain told him to move on, to dismiss it as just another sentimental request. But something deep inside him resisted. As the video played out, Lily smiled again, despite the tears that brimmed in her eyes. "Thank you, Mr. Musk. Even if you can't come, I'll always dream of Mars." The video ended abruptly, leaving only the echo of her voice in the air. Elon sat motionless for what felt like an eternity, his usual quick response, an answer, a solution, a direction, was nowhere to be found. In its place was a deep, gnawing sense of helplessness that he wasn't used to. Clara, standing a few feet behind him, waited quietly for him to speak. Elon turned to her, his face unreadable. I don't know what to say," he murmured, almost to himself. Clara stepped forward, offering a gentle smile. "You don't have to say anything, Elon. The question is, what will you do?" Elon exhaled slowly, the weight of the situation pressing on his chest. For the first time in a long time, he felt small. Just one person in a world full of unimaginable challenges. But this child, this one small girl, had asked him for something he wasn't sure he could give, and yet there was something in her request that felt impossible to ignore. It wasn't about the mission to Mars or the technology. It was about something deeper, something that transcended the stars. Elon sat back in his chair, staring at the empty screen where Lily's video had just played. The hum of the Tesla headquarters was drowned out by the constant buzz of his own thoughts. He wasn't used to feeling this uncertain, not when he was spearheading projects like the Mars mission or changing the world with electric vehicles. But Lily's request, so simple yet profound, had shaken him in ways he wasn't prepared for. Was this a challenge? Or a call for something more human? He rubbed his temples, the weight of the situation sinking deeper. He wasn't a hero. He had never seen himself as one. A businessman, an inventor, a dreamer. Those labels fit. But hero was something that belonged in the pages of comic books, not in the life of someone who built rockets and electric cars. Yet here he was, questioning whether he could be more than just the sum of his tech-driven ambitions. Clara, noticing his tension, stepped closer. She knew him well enough to understand when his mind was spiraling. "You're thinking too hard," she said softly, her voice a calm anchor in the whirlwind of his thoughts. "Lily doesn't want a hero. She just wants a moment of kindness, a gesture, a simple one." Elon looked at her, his brow furrowed. "But what if it's not enough? What if I don't do enough to help her?" Clara gave a small, knowing smile. "It's not about doing. It's about being. Just being there. Sometimes that's all it takes. You don't need to change her world. You just need to show her that you care, that you see her." Elon's heart clenched. Could it really be that simple? He had spent so much of his life chasing the impossible, colonizing Mars, developing AI, creating sustainable energy solutions. He had built entire industries around bold, world-changing visions. But what if the most significant thing he could do wasn't changing the world, but simply being present for one person who needed him? He closed his eyes for a moment, reflecting on the countless hours he'd spent focused on Mars, on space exploration, on the next frontier. It was his obsession, his lifelong dream. But for the first time he realized that maybe, just maybe, there was something more immediate and urgent in front of him. Lily's dream of Mars wasn't about the destination. It was about the hope of a connection. The connection that could transcend even the stars. Clara's voice broke through his reverie once again. "You've done so much, Elon, but this is about being human. The real kind of human." Elon nodded slowly, his thoughts starting to align. He could feel the shift within him. This wasn't a challenge to be solved by engineering or technology. It was a moment to connect, to show someone that even in a world full of cold calculations, there was room for something warm and genuine. He could do this. It didn't matter that Mars was his dream or that space exploration had always been his calling. For Lily, he had to become more than just a name on a video. He had to become someone who could offer hope in a way that words and grand gestures never could. Without another word, Elon stood up. He didn't need to make any promises or give elaborate speeches. There was no plan to formulate, no press release to draft. The next step was simple. He needed to find a way to give Lily what she wanted, what she truly needed, a moment of kindness. As Clara watched him gather his thoughts, she gave a quiet, approving nod. "I think you know what you need to do." Elon stood by his desk, the weight of the decision still hanging heavily in the air. He had always been a man of action, quick decisions, fast implementations, cutting through red tape with the precision of a laser. But this was different. The stakes weren't about profitability or innovation. This was about something deeply personal. It was about one girl's dream. His mind raced through possibilities. He had the resources, the technology, the influence. But none of those tools could help him in the way he needed. This wasn't a problem to be solved with rockets or electric cars. This was a matter of human connection, of understanding what it meant to offer hope, not just solutions. Clara was still there, watching him with quiet encouragement. Elon had always been surrounded by yes men and executives who agreed with his every move. But Clara was different. She had a way of grounding him, offering perspective when his mind was lost in the clouds. She had been with him for years, and though she wasn't the kind of person to sugarcoat anything, she understood him better than anyone else. "What are you thinking?" Clara asked, sensing the gears turning in his head. Elon's lips parted slightly as he turned to her. "I've been so focused on Mars, on the bigger picture. I almost forgot that sometimes the smallest moments can mean the most." Clara smiled knowingly. "Exactly. This isn't about Mars, it's about making a difference in Lily's life." He nodded slowly, his mind beginning to focus. He had always been a forward thinker, but now he was thinking in reverse. What was the most meaningful way to give Lily her moment of joy? "I need to make it real for her," Elon murmured to himself, more to clarify his own thoughts than to speak to Clara. "But not just the promise of a Mars trip. I need to bring Mars to her, make it feel like she's already there. The rocket, the launch, the feeling of being weightless. I want her to know that I see her dream, and that it's real." Clara's eyes lit up. That's exactly it. Give her something tangible, something she can hold on to. Bring the dream to her. Elon's mind started to crystallize a plan. He reached for his phone and quickly typed a message to his team. He knew he had the resources to make this happen, but it would require coordination. He needed a carefully crafted experience, one that would bridge the distance between Earth and Mars, between the impossible and the possible. He made a call to the SpaceX team. "We're going to make a special video for Lily," Elon said. "I want you to pull together some footage from the Mars mission. I want her to feel like she's actually there, on the surface of Mars, looking up at the stars, feeling weightless. It needs to be personal, inspiring, and I want you to bring in the full SpaceX crew for this." As he gave instructions, his excitement grew. The idea was coming to life, and it felt right. He had been building Mars for years, but now he was going to give it to one person, Lily. It wasn't going to be the real thing, not yet. But it would be enough to show her that her dream was seen, and that it mattered. Once the plan was in motion, he turned to Clara, who had been watching him intently. "We need to make it more than just a video," he said, his voice suddenly quiet but filled with determination. "We'll send her something physical, a piece of Mars, a little bit of the impossible to hold in her hands." Clara's eyes widened, and a knowing smile crept onto her face. "A piece of the rocket? A model?" Elon's grin was almost childlike. "Something even better. We're sending her a custom-made patch from the SpaceX crew, a symbol of Mars, something she can wear, and I'll add a personal message. From me. A hug. Virtually. Clara laughed softly, the tension in the room easing. I think she'll love it. Elon's heart pounded with anticipation as he finished the final details. He wasn't sure exactly when he had crossed the line from just thinking about it to actually committing, but it didn't matter. It felt right. For once, he wasn't thinking about rockets and timelines. He was thinking about a young girl's dream, and he was going to do everything in his power to make it real for her, even if only for a moment. As the plan began to take shape, Elon felt a strange sense of peace. This wasn't a mission that would change the world, not in the way he had always dreamed, but it was a mission that mattered, and for the first time in a long while, that was enough. The day had arrived. Elon stood in front of the camera in his sleek, minimalist office at Tesla's headquarters, dressed in his usual casual attire: dark jeans, a black t-shirt, and a SpaceX jacket. The room was quiet, almost serene, save for the low hum of the air conditioning and the soft clicking of keyboards as his team worked in the background. For once, Elon wasn't thinking about Mars or electric vehicles. His mind was focused entirely on one person, Lily. The video was ready. The special footage from the Mars mission had been pieced together and a heartfelt message had been crafted. But it wasn't enough just to send her a video and some gifts. Elon needed to give her something more, something that could reach through the screen and touch her soul. He had realized something in the past few days. He could build rockets, travel to space, and send people to Mars. But this was different. This was a child's dream, and he couldn't just send her an email or a pre-recorded message. He had to make her feel the hug, even if it was through the virtual world. Clara was there, standing beside him, watching as Elon prepared himself for what he considered to be the most important message of his career. "Are you ready?" Clara asked softly. Elon didn't respond immediately. Instead, he looked into the camera, gathering his thoughts. He wasn't going to just read lines. This needed to come from the heart. He needed to speak to Lily, to let her know that her dream mattered, that she was important. "I've been thinking a lot about you, Lily," Elon began, his voice steady but warm. "You know, when you told me you wanted to go to Mars, it made me stop and think. I've spent my entire life trying to make Mars a reality, trying to make it a place that people can one day call home. But you reminded me of something I forgot. That sometimes the greatest journey isn't about how far we go, but about the dreams we dare to have." He paused for a moment, feeling the weight of his words. "I'm going to be honest with you," he continued, looking directly into the camera as if Lily were sitting right in front of him. "I can't take you to Mars today. Not yet. But I'm going to bring Mars to you, and I'm going to show you what it feels like to be there. To stand on the surface of another planet, to feel weightless, to see the stars. Because your dream is special, and it's worth everything I can give." There was a brief silence. The intensity of the moment hung in the air like a heavy fog. Elon's eyes softened as he thought about Lily, her bright smile in the video, her excitement, her hope. How could he disappoint her? He wouldn't. He couldn't. "I've also got something for you, Lily. A little piece of Mars. Well, not really, but something that will remind you that no dream is too big. You've got a little piece of us, from the SpaceX crew, to wear on your journey. This patch is for you, a symbol of hope, and of everything that's possible." Elon leaned forward slightly, his voice lowering just a little. "And one more thing, Lily. I want you to know that no matter where you are, no matter what happens, you've already made a difference. You've shown all of us that the impossible can be possible, and that our dreams, they don't have to stay in the clouds." He stood up straight, and for the first time in a while, a genuine smile tugged at the corners of his mouth. "And when the time comes, when Mars is ready for you, you'll be the first person I bring there, I promise. Until then, I'm sending you a hug. A virtual one, but one that's as real as I can give you right now." He held up his arms, as though offering a hug to the camera. His smile grew just a little wider, as if trying to bridge the distance between him and Lily, wherever she might be. The camera clicked off. Clara was silent for a long moment, watching Elon, as if gauging his emotional state. Finally, she spoke. "That was perfect," she said softly. "You made it real for her, Elon. You gave her more than just a dream. You gave her a piece of you." Elon didn't respond right away. He was lost in his thoughts, still replaying the words he had just spoken. There was something about this moment, about offering more than just a grand vision of space, that felt more meaningful than any achievement in his career. "I hope she feels it," Elon said quietly, his gaze distant. "I hope she knows she's not alone." Clara nodded. "She will. And so will you." As Elon stared out the window, his thoughts drifted back to Lily, her video, her hope. He didn't know what the future held, but at that moment, he knew he had done something that mattered, something that went beyond technology and rockets. This wasn't just about the stars or Mars. It was about people and the incredible power of a dream. The days that followed Elon's heartfelt video to Lily were filled with anticipation. He couldn't stop thinking about her, her smile, her dream, her strength in the face of such adversity. Even as he dived into his work on Mars missions and the latest Tesla developments, Lily's message lingered in the back of his mind, like a whisper he couldn't ignore. Clara kept him updated on the progress of the video. The message had been sent, and it didn't take long before the response from Lily's family arrived. Elon's heart skipped a beat when he saw the subject line, Lily's response. He opened the email in his office, his hands slightly trembling as he read the message. But it wasn't just a simple reply. Attached was a new video, a video from Lily herself. The screen flickered as the video loaded. There she was, sitting in her room, a wide smile spread across her face. She looked different from the girl in the first video. She looked lighter, happier, hopeful. "Hi, Elon." Lily's voice came through the screen, sweet and excited. "I watched your video over and over, and I want to thank you for the hug and the patch. I wear it all the time now, and it makes me feel like I'm already on Mars. I keep thinking that one day I'll be there. I'll see the stars up close. I'll be weightless, and I won't be scared anymore." She paused for a moment, her smile fading slightly, as if the weight of her illness briefly took over. "But you know what? I'm not scared anymore. Not really. Because you made me feel like I matter, like my dream is something real. And that means more than anything else in the world." Lily looked down at the camera, wiping a tear from her cheek, and then looked back up with a fierce determination in her eyes. "I'm going to fight, Elon. I'm going to fight because you believe in me, and that's enough. That's everything. And when I go to Mars, I'll bring your hug with me, and it'll be with me the whole time. I won't be alone. I'll have you, and all the people who believe in me. We'll be together. Thank you, Elon. Thank you for making me feel like I'm already part of your world." The video ended with a wave, her fingers fluttering through the screen before it cut to black. Elon stared at the screen for a long time, his heart heavy and his mind racing. The weight of her words was overwhelming. She had done something that no one else had. She had given him something that even Mars couldn't give him. Purpose. A reminder that dreams weren't just for the few who could afford them or the ones who had the right skills. Dreams were for everyone. They were universal. Clara stood silently in the corner, waiting. She knew this was an emotional moment for Elon, but she also knew something important had shifted. "Elon?" she asked softly, stepping forward. "What are you thinking?" Elon wiped his eyes, clearing his throat as he tried to put his feelings into words. "I don't know what to say," he admitted. She's changed everything. She's shown me something I've been missing. that sometimes the journey isn't about the destination. It's about the people we meet along the way, the ones who remind us that there's more to life than our goals and ambitions. He exhaled deeply, the weight in his chest not yet gone. I don't know if she'll make it to Mars, but I do know that I'll never forget her. I'll never forget that little girl who dreamed so big and made me believe that anything is possible, even when the world tells us otherwise. Clara nodded, understanding the depth of Elon's emotions. She stepped closer and placed a hand on his shoulder. You've given her more than anyone could have, Elon. You've given her hope. That's everything. Elon nodded, but his eyes were distant. He was thinking of the future, of Mars, of all the things yet to be done. But there was something else now, something that he couldn't shake. It wasn't about rockets or colonizing another planet. It was about the people whose dreams he could touch, whose lives he could change, just by being present. Thank you, Clara, Elon said softly, his voice almost a whisper. I didn't know I needed this, but I'm glad I got it. Clara smiled, her eyes bright. You didn't just give her a dream, Elon. You gave yourself one too. The message from Lily became a turning point in Elon's life and in the lives of everyone who knew the story. It wasn't about the future of space travel or electric cars. It was about something far more profound, human connection. And as he moved forward in his work, he carried Lily's spirit with him, knowing that no matter how far he reached, no dream was ever too small to make a difference. Months passed, and life for Elon Musk slowly found its balance again. The whirlwind of projects, the space missions, and the challenges of running Tesla and SpaceX kept him occupied. But something had shifted inside him. Lily's message, her spirit, and her unshakable belief in the possibility of the impossible had become an anchor for him. Every decision, every breakthrough, seemed to be seen through a new lens, one that recognized the profound power of hope and the importance of touching the lives of others. As Elon sat in his office late one evening, reviewing reports about the progress of SpaceX's Mars mission, Clara walked in, carrying a letter. It's from Lily's family, Clara said, placing it on Elon's desk. They wanted you to have this. Elon reached for the letter, feeling a familiar rush of emotion. He hadn't heard from them since Lily's video, but he knew this was important. Carefully, he opened the envelope and unfolded the note inside. Dear Elon, first and foremost, thank you for making Lily's dream come true. She spoke about you every day. She wore the patch, held the hug you sent her close to her heart, and most of all, she believed in Mars. You gave her something no one else could have, the belief that dreams could live on, no matter the circumstances. Lily passed away a week ago, Elon, but I wanted you to know, she fought till the end. She kept her smile, kept the hope, and kept believing in her journey to Mars. She even told us that when she passed, she'd be going to space, that it wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. She was ready. Thank you for reminding us what hope feels like. You gave her the world. With all our love, the Jones family. Elon felt his throat tighten as he read the words over and over. Lily was gone, but her impact had been eternal. He placed the letter down slowly, his eyes blurring with unshed tears. The world had lost a beautiful soul, but Lily's dream, the spark she had ignited, was far from over. It was, in many ways, just beginning. The next day, Elon made a decision. He gathered the SpaceX team and shared his thoughts on an idea that had been growing within him. We're going to do something for Lily, he announced, his voice steady yet emotional. I want her to be a part of Mars, not just as a memory, but as a symbol. I want us to name one of the Mars colonies after her. This is for everyone who believes in the impossible. This is for everyone like Lily who knew that the sky wasn't the limit. The room was silent for a moment as the weight of Elon's words settled in. Then, one by one, the team members nodded, a quiet resolve spreading through the room. We'll do it, Elon. one of them said. "We'll make it happen." The announcement came months later. SpaceX had unveiled its plan to build the first human colony on Mars, and the colony would be named Lily's Dream. The initiative was not just a testament to Lily's memory, but a call to action. It was a declaration that no matter what challenges humanity faced, hope could still be the driving force. Elon appeared on stage at the global launch event, his emotions carefully controlled. He spoke about the importance of perseverance, of believing in dreams bigger than yourself. But there was a certain quiet conviction in his voice when he talked about Lily. "This project is for all the Lilies of the world," he said. "For all the dreamers who might seem small to the world, but are giants in their own right. Lily's dream isn't just about Mars. It's about everything we do here on Earth, and the way we uplift each other, especially when we don't have the answers. She showed us that we don't need to wait for the future. We can start today by believing in each other." The Mars mission continued, but the impact of Lily's legacy was felt in every corner of SpaceX, Tesla, and beyond. The Lily's Dream initiative brought together thousands of supporters, advocates, and dreamers, all working together to make something that had once seemed impossible, human life on Mars, into a reality. Every time someone looked up at the stars, they knew that Lily's hope lived on there. Clara, who had stood by Elon through all of this, watched from the sidelines with a quiet pride. She had known that this story wasn't just about one little girl or one man's mission. It was about a collective human story, a story of inspiration, connection, and the unrelenting power of hope. One evening, as Elon stood on the balcony of his home, gazing at the stars above, he felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. He had achieved more than he ever thought possible. He had reached the stars, had led humanity closer to Mars, but in many ways, the most important lesson had come not from the cosmos, but from a little girl with a dream. He closed his eyes, feeling her presence in the night air. The dreamer was still with him, and always would be. As the years passed, the first settlers arrived on Mars, and they made history in the name of Lily's Dream. Mars was no longer just a distant, unreachable world. It had become a symbol of human potential, a symbol of all the Lilies who, in their own way, dared to dream. And the story of Elon Musk and Lily, two people from entirely different worlds, became the story that reminded everyone that no matter the odds, no matter the illness, no matter the circumstances, the dream of reaching the stars was alive. Years passed, and the legacy of Lily's dream continued to grow, reaching far beyond the red dust of Mars. The colony, now bustling with life, stood as a beacon of human resilience and the power of dreams. It had expanded far beyond what anyone could have imagined, with structures that harnessed the planet's resources, human settlements thriving, and Earth-Mars communication systems strengthening every day. Lily's dream wasn't just a symbol anymore, it was a thriving reality. But for Elon, as he stood before the gleaming horizon of Mars, he couldn't help but feel that the work was only just beginning. The dream had been realized, yes, but the challenge of ensuring humanity's future on Mars was still an uphill battle. He gazed at the construction crews working diligently on the next phase of the colony, the faces of the engineers and scientists illuminated by the orange glow of the Martian sunset. Each person was contributing to something bigger than themselves, a future that would never have been possible without the spark of hope that Lily had ignited. But now, Elon was thinking about something else, something more personal. He had seen the future of space exploration unfold before his eyes. But what about the future of his own life? In the rush to make history, Elon had rarely stopped to consider his place in the story of tomorrow. He had dedicated himself to the work of progress, of building humanity's future in the stars. But what had he truly built in his own life? His mind turned to the people who had stood by him through this journey. Clara, the ever-present source of calm and clarity. His family, who had always been understanding of his often obsessive focus. And of course, his children, whose laughter he hadn't heard enough of during his long hours of work. He picked up his phone, scrolling through pictures of his kids, moments he cherished, yet moments that felt distant. It was in this quiet reflection that Elon realized something important: that the future he was creating on Mars wasn't just about technology or exploration. It was about legacy. It was about the people he loved and the mark he would leave on them. Clara entered the room, interrupting his thoughts. "Elon, there's something I think you should see," she said, her voice tinged with excitement. Elon looked up, raising an eyebrow. "What is it?" Clara handed him a tablet, showing a live stream of a new mission launch, one that was different from the usual Mars-bound expeditions. "This," she said, pointing to the screen, "is the first wave of young dreamers who will be traveling to Mars. They're not scientists, engineers, or astronauts. They're students, inspired by Lily's dream. They are the new generation." Elon watched in awe as a group of young people, no older than 15 or 16, prepared for their journey. There was excitement in their eyes, a mixture of curiosity and fear. But most of all, there was a shared sense of wonder, a recognition that they were part of something much bigger than themselves. "Lily's dream was just the beginning," Clara said, her voice soft. "Now, it's creating a movement. A generation who will carry this hope forward." Elon smiled, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. This was what he had wanted: to inspire, to spark the imagination of the world, especially the young minds who would take the baton and run with it. Months later, Elon sat at a press conference, the room filled with reporters eager for his next announcement. His face was calm, but there was a fire in his eyes, one that had burned brighter than ever before. "We are not just sending people to Mars," he began, his voice steady but charged with emotion. "We are sending the best of humanity. The dreamers, the innovators, the ones who dare to imagine a future where space is no longer a frontier, but a home. A place where we can start fresh, not just as individuals, but as a species. It's no longer about what I or SpaceX can do. It's about what we can all do together." A reporter raised her hand, asking the question that had been on everyone's mind. "What about Earth, Elon? As humanity pushes forward into space, how do we make sure we don't forget our home?" Elon's expression softened, a thoughtful pause before he responded. "Earth is our cradle, but it's also fragile. We have to remember that the journey to Mars, to space, isn't just a way to escape. It's about saving ourselves. We need to take the lessons we learn on Mars, the unity, the collaboration, the innovation, and bring them back home. Earth is our responsibility. Mars is our future, but both are connected." As the press conference ended, Elon felt a quiet sense of peace. The future was unfolding in ways he had never anticipated. He was no longer just the CEO of Tesla or SpaceX. He was part of a collective journey, a journey that, in its most pure form, was about humanity's shared potential. A few weeks later, Elon visited Lily's dream on Mars. As he walked through the colony, the sounds of construction and progress filled the air. He stopped at a monument in the Central Park, a simple, beautiful stone with Lily's name etched into it, surrounded by stars and planets. It was a tribute to the girl who had inspired a movement, a dream that had set humanity on a new course. He placed a hand on the stone, a moment of silent reflection. In his mind, he could almost hear Lily's voice, the voice that had once spoken of hope and wonder. "We're going to Mars," she had said, and now, here they were, on Mars. But it wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. As Elon looked up at the sky, watching the stars twinkle in the distance, he knew the journey ahead would be challenging. But with every challenge came the opportunity to build a legacy that would not just be about reaching the stars, but about creating a future where hope, love, and the human spirit could thrive.